Good evening, Harlem and Harlems of the world. I am Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And as many of you know, Harlem Network News is a media platform we started at the onset of COVID, and we are still here to assure that Harlem and the Harlems of the world are informed, engaged, and called to action. And at this time, it is more critical than ever with elections coming up and different every day when you turn on the news, something different is happening. Attempted assassinations, school shootings, different things with the presidential election. So it's very important that the people get the real message. And with the advent of social media, there's so much misinformation, things that need to be fact checked. So you truly need a media that you can trust. So that's where Harlem Network News comes in. We try to give you the facts and the information. Today we have with us our district leader right here in Harlem, William Allen, and he has been on many times before. Just really a political analyst for us as well. But there's something new coming up. William, would you let the audience know who you are and tell us what's getting ready to happen?
I'm District Leader William Allen, the 70th Assembly District. I'm a community leader and activist here in Central Harlem, Greater Harlem area. And tomorrow we got a great event of Black men for Kamala Harris. We're anticipating more than 200 Black men of influence to talk about, to talk about how we can be involved in her campaign, but more importantly, making sure that the message of Black men are heard also in the campaign. I can't hear you. Sound, I don't hear you.
Harlem Network News, Terri Wisdom. Thank you so much. I was just stating that it's very important with the Black men coming out for Kamala Harris and really to discuss some of the issues. And because of a lot of the misinformation and different concerns, and just speaking with young people, because I'm speaking with a lot of young people, and because things are going across things like TikTok, and the way media often can work is once it's put out there, then it's difficult to bring back what has been said. And especially since things are coming in like sound bites. So how I know that you and Shatik Mitchell, who is also very involved in the community, he was former district manager for Community Board 10. He's a community liaison for the Central Park Conservancy. But if you would just share, where did this come from? How did you all decide to put this together? And tell us when it's happening, where it's happening, what people need to do to prepare to come, and who some of the speakers are and how the agenda will flow. Thank you.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, there's already was a national call that was led by Michael Blake and Roland Martin.
Okay,
yes. Black men together.
Absolutely.
Virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, very successful. More than $1 million was raised. And then locally here in Harlem, we saw Harlem Black women do an event out in the community. And we said, you know what, we need to also do one here in Harlem. Mm-hmm. Because we think not only do you need to do those national calls, but just imagine if all the communities and neighborhoods of Black men across the country are coming together and talking about this race and talking about themselves. you
Mhm.
know, and we feel that that can make a really strong impact. You know, a lot of Black men, unlike Black women,
Mhm.
don't vote at significant numbers. And so this
Okay.
is an opportunity to talk about voter education, voter education,
Mhm.
voter engagement,
Yes.
and voter accountability.
Okay.
You
I
know,
love it. I love that voter accountability. Because that goes two ways. As a
that's
voter,
right.
how are you accountable? And then as we elect candidates or we look at candidates, how do we hold the candidates accountable, to what the needs of our communities are, to what our asks are, because
And
that is a whole nother next
well,
level.
also, it's not just only holding the candidates
Mhm. Mhm.
accountable. How do we hold ourselves accountable? Because if we
Very true.
don't vote and participate civically, then
Mhm.
we're guilty, just as guilty as those who oppress us and create barriers for us. So if we're not engaged, we're not in meetings, we're not talking in the right spaces to make a difference, then the difference will not be made. So
No.
we have to create these spaces. So tomorrow's event is about creating a space by which Black men can come together and others can join us. Women will be there,
Uh-huh.
non-Black men will be there.
Mhm.
Any and everybody, they're welcome to come, you know, because Black men need support and they need support to support her. And so people call me up and say, well, is this just a men's event? I said, no. I said, this is just a
Mhm.
Black men event supporting her, and Black men are speaking, but
Mhm.
we welcome anybody to come
Okay.
and
Okay.
observe and whatnot, because we need all the help that we can get. And it's gonna make a difference. And already, I can tell you, we had that national call,
Mhm.
and I'm sure more has been raised since then, but over $1 million was raised by Black
Right.
men
Absolutely.
and that first day or first couple of days.
Mhm.
And so Black men, when we put them in spaces and send them the right communication,
Mm.
they will do their part. And so so tomorrow is about creating the right space at the right time by which Black men, young and old, can be engaged, get correct information, and utilize their power. You know,
Okay.
as you know, Terry, you know, voting and not voting is equal.
True.
Because when you don't vote, that means you basically abstain your power to somebody else. You
Absolutely.
know, and so I was people,
Absolutely.
if you don't vote, then you actually are voting. You're giving somebody else that power to make decisions for you, your family, and your community. And so therefore, when you don't see things in your community and you assume some politician did something, well, you was not voting and
Mhm.
you were not monitoring the vote, nor were you monitoring the politician after they get elected. So
Absolutely.
so we have a lot of education to do.
Mhm.
We have a lot of engagement to do. We have a lot of accountability to teach.
Mhm. I think that's incredible, and I think it's very important. I love the idea of the Black men stepping up. I did view the Roland Martin call after
Hmm.
the fact, and I just think it's amazing. And we know that we are coming into the season where we will be celebrating the anniversary of the Million Man March. So
Hmm.
it's very befitting as we all pull together. And segue, yesterday, I have to give a shout out to the 55th African American Day Parade that took place, as well as the breakfast that took place with honorees and scholarships ahead of the parade. But it was just a very empowering parade, just to see our people marching in the street, to see a body of mainly Black men that were electricians, or to see the Masons and the police and, nurse. It was just empowering to see the people. So to harness that energy and get it into the accountability and us taking some taking back our power, taking responsibility, making our public officials accountable to the needs of the people. Huge task. And that goes on the local level, you know, and on the national level, getting to our presidential nominee, Kamala Harris. So I think what you're doing is very important. And it's something that should continue even after the election, so that we are a body in spaces and we are heard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's extremely critical. And even on that note, as Black men are fathers and grandfathers and brothers, and, you know, Black women are mothers and grandmothers and, you know, sisters and all of those things, it's very important, because I've had my pulse on the children in our community, and they're not clear as to what is going on. You know, they're listening to tidbits or they're getting it on TikTok. You know, they're not sure if the people are eating the pets or not, who's eating that. You know what I'm saying? It's sound bites that are going out. So I would just also implore that as you educate yourself and you get involved, you make sure that your young person has an idea of what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's very critical, and it is impactful. It's impactful to the young people.
Yep.
So that's what I would say. Now, what is the structure of your event? Will there be speakers? Where is it? What time does it start? The people, is it can register or what?
It's very limited space. We were only really holding a meeting for 100 people.
Okay.
And we identify some key influencers in Harlem, Black men in Harlem,
Okay.
and those who influence Black men that influence Harlem to come together.
Okay.
It's going to start tomorrow, roughly around starting at 6 o'clock, 6:30.
Okay.
And the speakers are all on the flyer.
Okay.
That includes Jamani Williams, the mayor,
Public advocate.
the
Great.
public advocate, former Congressman Charles Rangel,
Wonderful.
ministers, agency heads, entrepreneurs, youth agency heads, just Black men that's actually hiring and leading in Harlem,
Okay.
whether they're elected or they're running their own business.
Okay.
So it's very, 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 very diverse. I don't have the flyer in front of me.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's fine. I think I have it. If it's okay, I can name some of the names.
Yeah, if you can name some.
Yeah, these are some of the names. I don't know if everybody has, but of course we have, you know, Shatik as an organizer, you as a co-host. We have our Mayor Eric Adams. We have our City Council, Dr. Yusef Salam.
Yep.
Reverend Al Sharpton.
Yeah, County Leader Keith Wright, who's the moderator.
Wonderful. Okay. And Congressman Charles Rangel, Robert Jackson, our New York Senator, Jordan Wright, New York Assembly candidate. I see, as you said, Jamani Williams, New York Public Advocate, Reverend Al Taylor, our New York State Assembly.
Yep.
Londell Davis, State Committee Member, Eddie Gibbs, New York Assemblyman, Mike Waldron Jr., pastor of FCBC. All right.
Well, he won't be able to make it.
Oh, okay.
So, because he's being honored tomorrow night by his congregation.
Okay.
So the pastor of Union Baptist, Reverend Brian Scott, is going to fill in, and Reverend Brian Scott is also the head of national and local Black Baptist and Christian groups all across the country and locally.
Beautiful.
So, and Brian is young, and he's going to step in. He's the pastor of Union Baptist Church on 145th Street, 7th and 8th Avenue, Frederick Douglass and Adam Powell.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And We have Larry Scott Blackman, the Black
Yeah,
Men.
Larry Scottman, who, as you know,
Yes.
Larry is involved in a whole host of different great things.
Uh-huh.
Larry's also, I think, the president. He's one of the leaders in the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity.
Hmm.
And Larry's has been the leader since he was a college student. And so his involvement is critical because he attracts a whole lot of people and brings
Okay,
a lot of value
wonderful.
to the discussion.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think this is great. And
Mhm.
Harlem Network News, of course, we will be there to help get the word out. It's just very critical that we continue. I like what you're saying when you say for us to be in spaces and also for us to have an opportunity to have conversations.
Mhm.
People have a lot of questions, and especially on a media standpoint, there's a lot of misinformation. So it's important to try and get clarity
That's
so
right.
that you can make a decision, that
That's
you
right.
know what is happening.
That's
So,
right.
so I think the idea coming together and all of this, everything that's happening right now, we're in a fast forward mode. We had the shift on the 21st of July.
Mhm.
We had a convention that was put together in a short time. And then there's every day there's something happening, attempted assassination, school shooting. It's a lot of stuff happening. So it's a lot to process. And it can one of the questions is, will you be uh, organizing to deal with fundraising? And some of the people in the community have had a lot of questions because they said all this money is being raised, but we're not seeing it trickling down to our local organizers or our grassroots media, which is the people that can get the messages out to our community. So, what are your thoughts on that? Will that be
Well,
addressed?
I think local people got. That's why we hold these events.
Okay.
That's where you can ask those kind of questions.
Okay. Excellent.
I mean, Keith Wright's there. He's a county leader. Jordan Wright,
Uh-huh.
who's an
Mhm.
elected Democrat.
Mhm.
You gotta bring these questions to them, and that's why we have these forums by which that information can be brought.
Okay.
You
Excellent.
know, I
I love
mean,
it.
nobody can read nobody's mind what
Right.
folks
Yeah.
need. So you create these spaces by which people can share what their needs
Mhm.
are. You
Okay.
know.
I love it because the other
Mhm.
thing, I mean, I have had the privilege to be with Win with Black Women for the whole 4 years. And,
Mhm.
honestly, it happened when I had a group of the AKA sorority from across the nation on Harlem Network News. And one of the women who went to Howard University with my daughter, Inga Willis, who is now, I think, in the state Senate in Georgia, right after the interview, she suggested that I come on to this meeting. She says, you got to come on to the meeting. So I've been there for the whole distance. And it's just really good, like you say, creating spaces. With Win with Black Women, we have a
Exactly.
space where we're hearing information from across the country that we wouldn't hear otherwise. So in creating a space, even in the local, like Harlem sense, you're going to really have an opportunity to understand what people's concerns are, what people's needs are, what their fears are, and
That's
that
right.
can dispel a lot.
That's right.
The other thing that I hear on what I call the drumbeat is there are many people who are saying, as we're voting, as you spoke, what happens after the vote, or what happens prior to the vote? Do we need to put together a Black agenda, for Kamala, what the needs of the quote Black community are. Um,
Yes.
so these are key questions that have to be raised because, there could be in the past a situation where to say something like that, you could be considered racist or, now with the whole thing of diversity and so on and so forth. But I think you got to address the elephants in the room. You got to address the elephants in the room. And we can see from the Win with Black Women coming out with the 44,000, And then right after that, you come with the, black men, or the win with black men for Kamala. You come out with the white dudes, the women, so it really shows that there are different groups of people, and the
Mhm.
different groups have different names,
Well,
and
well,
there's nothing wrong with that.
there's nothing wrong, but more importantly, these groups have created spaces by which those groups can speak and share.
Right,
And not only just come together, say we support somebody, they're coming together also saying, here's our interests.
right,
You
right.
know, and that's just as important
Hmm.
because nobody can represent nobody if they're
Hmm.
not listening to the people that they're representing.
Right.
And so
Absolutely.
it's so important that we have this kind of dialogue. So those who that we elect, will get the right message.
Okay.
And the message is given to elected officials before they're elected,
Hmm.
and certainly the message needs to be managed after they're elected. So
Absolutely.
you just don't talk about the message and then you elect them and then you disappear. You got to
Mhm.
stay at the table
Right.
and help them implement the
Push
message.
through. You got to be present.
Yeah,
You
you
got
got
to
to be
be
present because
active.
in a participatory democracy,
Right.
people are constantly attempting to get the attention of their elected officials
Hmm.
24/7. So if
Yeah.
you decide to go on vacation, guess what? These other folks didn't. They're
Right.
still
Right.
pushing their
They're
issue.
right there, and they're
So
pushing, and
yeah,
they're fighting.
I
They're
Terry,
fighting for.
I always tell you this often. Sometimes as a district leader, I run into people. They'll say, "Oh, you politicians, we only see you when it's time to vote." I say, "Well, that's your fault. Because if you only
Okay.
see me every time it's time to vote, where the
Mhm.
hell are you?
Right. No,
Why
I
are you
hear
not
you.
at the community board meeting?
Right.
Why are you not
Right.
at the block associate tenant group? Why are you not engaged? Why are you not being held
Mhm.
accountable?" So if all you see is me at the time of voting, that says something not about me, that
Mhm.
says something about you.
Right. And it's sometimes, I mean, I find even with myself, and I'm Terry Wisdom, this is Harlem Network News, and I'm here with our district leader from Harlem, William Allen. And we are speaking about the event that's coming up, Black Men for Kamala. It's coming up right here in Harlem at the Renaissance Theater, but restaurant and Victoria. It was Victoria Theater. But in any case, we're just talking about engagement, dealing with some of the issues, being present. And sometimes it's not that easy to do that, but we've got to get over it. We've got to get over it. You can get a lot of rejections, you calling and you go to the office and you're feeling like you're not being heard, but you got to keep going. And I think of that when I think of the spirit of our, first Black women that was really on the map running for president in the person of Shirley Chisholm. I'm always encouraged by the statement, claim your seat at the table. And if you do not get a seat, you get your folding chair and you get there. So we've got to get over this. We got to push. We got to ask. We have to not be afraid to step out and keep going. And I think that is the way. It's engagement, and that's extremely important. And we cannot be disillusioned. I know that we have a lot going on right now with Mayor Adams and the whole, top tier, being something's going on. We don't know what it is, but we've got to talk about that too. We've got to ask the questions. We got to give support, and it's concerning that a majority, all of the people that are being investigated are people of color. So this is the Black people of color. So it's very concerning to our community. And things like that can also color how people are feeling about voting. They can get disillusioned and
Yeah.
all of that. So these are some of the conversations, and the big elephants in the room. I don't know if this will be, I guess it'll be open conversation, but the whole situation with the Gaza war and, what is going on with the hostages, what is going on with over 40,000 people being annihilated, and knowing that it didn't just start on October 7th, because there are people that have concern about the messaging that is coming from our candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris, on that situation. And then even more so about the financial drain, because pretty much, our tax dollars are funding these wars. So there's a lot of concerns, but we've got to get behind it. We've got to address it, and then we've got to make our case. So, William, do you have any thoughts, or just where we are in this, and some closing statements? I know.
No, I think the closing is, I got a text from a leader, and he said, he sent me a whole huge list. Why these people not invited? I said, well, hold it, everybody's invited. And guess what?
Okay.
And I've learned in life, when you want to be a part of something, you like Shirley Chisholm, you bring
Right.
a folding chair.
Right.
So if you want to be involved, you're gonna be involved.
Hmm.
And so I said to him, I said, well, you're welcome to invite them.
Right.
I said, send them the flyer and encourage them to
Hmm.
attend.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, that's how this is worked. No one's excluded. Anybody that
Right.
cares about their community, cares about the survival of Black people, have an
Hmm.
opportunity to be a leader.
Right.
You don't have to wait for somebody else to do the work.
Hmm.
You can go ahead and do the work. There's no political elite or this elite,
Hmm.
this and that. I said most of the folks that got elected in this community, I mean, it was a struggle. And because we went to hundreds and hundreds of meetings and we never gave up.
Right.
So we're not elite. We're just people that just don't give up. The
Right.
community board,
Thank you for that.
the community board meets every month. Show up.
Yeah, thank you for that, because it's very
Yeah,
important.
participate.
Yeah, you have to push. We had the privilege of going to the Democratic convention, and that
Hmm.
was not easy. As independent Black media, we were not paid to go there. We had to pay our way. We had to push our way in, but I was able to actually have an official credential. Now, I didn't get all access every day the way that I wanted, but I saw what it was. I saw how it works, and I was not deterred. And
Hmm.
I know that for all future things that are going on, I'm just going to bring my folding chair. And if I don't have my seat, I'm bringing my folding chair. I'm bringing my people. I met a lot of other independent grassroots media. We're organizing because I think it's very important in getting the message out. And we're not deterred because, like you said, it should not be an elitist thing. CNN and MSNBC and, all of these, traditional medias are there. They're pushing out their messages, and it's important that we push out our messages.
That's right. That's right.
It's very critical. So that's what we're doing. We're not deterred. If you can push us down and don't invite us to the, high-end media room where the food is, we're going to try to walk in anyway,
That,
or we'll bring our sandwich.
that's right. That's right.
So, that's really what we have to do. But I thank you so much for doing this, and I look forward to us being in the spaces and really discussing the real issues, because I think that's a very much of a concern, that we don't just gloss over, what the issues are. We know that this is a monumental, the first Black woman president, Black Asian woman president, and woman. So this is a monumental time
Right. That's
in
right.
America. Other countries have had women, leaders and all of that, but this is monumental in America. It's monumental when you
Yeah.
look at the numbers, and let's not forget the lower races. When you look at the numbers, like of all the thousands of people that we've had that have been senators since the country's inception, it's like about 9 Black people, and it's about 3 or 4 Black women. So you do the math, and you look at like what is the world looking like, and what do we have to do, to really make some great changes.
Yeah.
And we have to push. And, Kamala Harris is a Black woman. She is also of Asian descent, but we are looking at that. But at the same point, like, she doesn't have to be worried. I think we're past that point where if she makes a decision that is a balanced decision, that people are going to say, oh, she made it because she was Black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, it's not that. Decisions have to be made on what is going on for the people. Reparations, and I'm going to stop, but reparations is not a foreign concept. When World War II happened and the Japanese in America were put in really camps, they got some reparations. People that are in Amsterdam and Holland that were of Jewish descent that suffered, they get reparations right to this day, like it's Social Security.
That's right.
So this is not a foreign thing.
That's right.
It's not a foreign thing. So closing statements, William Allen. Let us know what you want the people to know, and we look forward.
So the takeaway tomorrow is not only to come to listen, but to be fully engaged and to leave there with you doing something.
Okay.
It's not about you waiting for somebody else to do something. What are you going to do? So this is to give you as much information, access to the resources so you can do something inside your family, where you live and your community, and get people participating. And certainly we want to elect Kamala, but more importantly, we want Black folks to stay engaged in the political process. At some point we have to think about our city government. We got to think about our state government. We got to think about our community boards and other government entities that we need to be a part of. So therefore our voice and our ideas and our pain and our issues is always present. But we recognize that they're only going to be present if we choose to stay at the table.
Okay.
So if there's no chair for you, bring a folding chair. If you don't have a folding chair, then stand up.
Thank you.
Be present.
Thank you.
Be
in
present.
the room. Be
in
present.
the room. Be in the room.
Present. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We
Thank you,
look
Terri
forward,
Wisdom.
and Harlem Network News, we're staying in the room and constantly looking at things and trying to see, the best way to readjust to get the message out. And of course, economics helps us to get that message out. We need more equipment. We need other platforms. We need to hire other people.
That's right.
For better coverage. So, just, email us at harlemnetworknews@gmail.com. That's actually our Zelle, Cash App, $ Harlem Network News. We have GoFundMe. And we appreciate you continuing to reach out to us with news and information, because we sometimes don't know everything. There's a drumbeat. If you have a story or something,
that's right.
Reach out to us. Thank you, William Allen, for sending the flyer to me. So that's
You're
how
welcome.
I know about it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, and you can reach us directly if you need to at 646-261-5397.
And I got to send you the updated flyer.
Okay, all right. Forward ever, backward never. Thank you so much.
That's right.
Kudos to Imam Yusuf Hassan and the whole team of the African American Day Parade.
Yes, indeed.
Putting up some clips of the breakfast with Harlem Network News, and I'm not sure if you can, and we've got a lot of footage, but it was amazing.
Yes, it was. It was beautiful.
I'm fired up. I'm fired up. I'm ready. So
going forward.
Okay. Have a great day.
You too.
Great evening. Thank you.
Good evening.
Okay. Bye-bye.